The Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal big footy rules still apply.
Alright, so this is the Flogcast for round 9. The emotionally checked out Tiger Starburns is here, and I'm joined by the number one fan of Chris Mayne from Collingwood, Morgan Ashley.
Hello.
And her sycophants. Firstly, Big Footy and Bay 13's number one Kiwi from Hawthorn, Penal.
Hello there.
You just cut Dan's lunch. And finally, the white knight of redheads everywhere from North, Dan.
Just has to one up everyone.
Yeah. Can you say that a bit louder, Dan?
Hello.
That's better. Alrighty. Goo or tears? Who wants to go first this week?
I got goo. I got NBA goo again for the Boston Celtics, who absolutely dominated today.
1-0. Congratulations.
That's alright. We didn't let the confetti off. So I've got goo for that, and I've got tears because I've got Achilles awareness. I can't fucking walk.
Achilles awareness, or do you have a bruised heel?
No, I have an Achilles issue.
Okay.
And I cannot walk, but I'm pretty sure I'm just diagnosing myself with awareness. I'm
No,
finally aware that I've got an Achilles.
You didn't realise what it did or how it hurt until you became aware of
I've
it.
never noticed the pain until today, so I'm suffering from Achilles awareness. First time in my life. It's quite unpleasant.
Just walk it off.
Yeah, Dan. Sounds like a good thing to do.
I've got is anger. And oddly enough, this happened at the same place. This happened on the footbridge heading into Etihad Stadium on Sunday. First off, the tears were for the free kombucha or kombucha, or whatever you pronounce it, apple cider drink. Susie's favourite alcoholic beverage choice. If you're listening to this, well, you will be listening to this. That stuff is disgusting. I actually tried some of it. Non-surprising, the first bin that you walk past outside the stadium was already full of this shit. Usually it's full after the game. The bin was overflowing with all these green cans. It's shit. It tastes like battery acid. Don't drink it. So that's my tears. My goo is for a North supporter and a Richmond supporter on the footbridge as well, because not only were they handing out free apple cider, Sue's alcoholic beverages, we also had these radical vegan, don't eat red meat Nazis.
Vegans don't eat any meat.
Yeah, I
Not
know.
even white meat.
Yeah, not white meat, not fish, mate.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Those protester types, those radicals. And I say they're radical.
Eco-terrorists?
Well, unlike the flat earth morons, you can just laugh at those idiots on your computer and they're harmless. These dipshits actually turn up to events and walk into restaurants to preach their propaganda. They were just standing still in a row like the record guys were trying to sell records to you. And one of the Richmond supporters, as I was walking by, yelled out, "Hey, I'm going to grab a hot dog before the game." And one of the protesters bit back at the bait, saying, "You're disgusting." The Roo supporter that was with him just started making cow noises. And the people in the vicinity were just laughing. It was so funny. So yeah, that was my good. That actually gave me.
Why would you, if you were like vegans, sort of trying to raise awareness of people who eat red meat, apparently, why would you pick a North home game on Mother's Day to make your stand?
Well, they were probably banking on the fact that there were going to be a lot of Richmond supporters there as well. They know that a lot of people use public transport for the Etihad Stadium games. Very well planned. A lot of these people were wearing the Richmond and North Melbourne attires as well.
Maybe we are the vegan clubs. Like Hawthorn's the 48%ers, and that's their thing. Maybe our little offshoots of that.
Like, if you've got some vegans that are just minding their own business,
then I'll leave them alone. But if they're getting all sanctimonious and start
A
getting
vegan
in
that
your
minds
face,
their own a vegan that minds their own business.
Well,
It's a unicorn,
Penal,
man.
There's no
yeah,
such
so
thing.
I
There's
guess
no
if
such
they're-
thing as
if-
a
if
quiet vegan.
if they're minding their own business, they're probably not a vegan. They're a cheating vegan who pretends to be vegan to get in some girl's pants or something, and then secretly scoffs down
No,
2 burgers on the
that's
weekend or
not
something.
No one resorts
Yeah.
to that.
So
That's not even-
anyway, what I was saying is, if I've got a real sanctimonious vegan, I'll pretend to play along with them and go like, yes, I totally agree. I'm fully with you guys. The treatment of these animals in these farming facilities and whatnot is just horrible. That's why I will only eat an animal that I've butchered myself. And the look on their face every time is priceless. You might as well have said, yes, I think Hitler was a great guy and the Holocaust was warranted. Like, you may as well have said that to their face to elicit that sort of reaction.
And the funny thing is, that is the scenario where I would stop eating meat. As long as someone else is going to kill it, I can deal. But if I had to do it myself, I think that would be the end. This isn't my joke, but a vegan, a CrossFitter, and an atheist walked into a bar. I know because they told everybody.
It's true.
It sort of is. And
there's no such thing as a quiet vegan.
And as a loudmouth atheist, I totally get that. But, yeah.
You're atheist.
Oh, Dan.
I thought you were a devout Catholic. Repent, young man. There is still time for you.
Yes, not too late.
Dude, I'm going to hell for so many other reasons. Penal.
I was going to have Goofer Master Troll Clarko, but I think Dan's given me an idea with his stories of alcohol experience at the Etihad Stadium thing, and I'm going to have Goo for Mud Brick Winery just outside Auckland on one of the islands there, and their wonderful assortment of food and wine, which it now goes on the highly recommended list from this podcast. I know that's sort of Morgs' thing, but I'm stealing your thunder and adding my own list, and to that I can also add the glorious ice cream, coriander, kiwi fruit, and edamame sorbet, which is highly worth trying, either if you find that on a menu somewhere, or just grab a sprig of coriander and make it yourself, unless you're lactose intolerant, of course, but then you can still eat sorbet because there's no milk in it. Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie Oliver. That was great.
Yeah, I should have my own cooking
See?
show.
Yeah. Cooking with defective penal.
You butcher it yourself, and you go out to the field and you shoot the cow. Now, next, you're going to skin it.
I would kill my own chicken, probably, but I would do a cow or a lamb because, too cute. So,
Chickens can be cute.
not really. Hang on, actually, I've gone full Kiwi already. I just said sheep are kind of cute. So
Gosh.
Penal, have you been
something
watching New Zealand Survivor?
They have New Zealand Survivor,
fuck's sake.
their own.
I had enough to talk about the Australian one. Now we've
It's
got to
series
hear about the
2.
New Zealand one.
Series 2 of New
It's-
Zealand
I
Survivor?
don't give a shit.
Shut up. Well, you can watch it on YouTube, and I highly recommend South African Survivor. It's the best thing I've ever watched.
What's that for copyright issues on it? It's going to
Oh.
disappear.
I remember vaguely watching one of the weird European ones, like from Lithuania or something, and that just being a complete clusterfuck. So
Well, they just
I
can't.
should get into some of the other countries.
They just cancelled the French one because somebody sexually assaulted another player during the night.
That's so French.
Well, that's bad luck. If you really are casted away on an island and you're trying to survive, that's going to happen.
The law of the jungle.
People have needs,
Ross Lyon's not on the tribe. But yeah, so they cancelled the French one, but the South African one, the second episode was last week. Those are on YouTube as well, and they're really good. They went to Rocks in the second week.
If they had a South African one and it was real, they'd get eaten by lions and hyenas and shit. And I'd watch.
They're not in South Africa. They're in the Philippines. They're just from South Africa.
What the fuck? Oh, it's fake. They all eat lunch and dinner afterwards, and then they got to go back and film again, and then they're all in hotels and shit. It's all fake.
Like wrestling.
There's zero appeal. No, I'm not. This is real. What I'm telling you is real. It's fake.
No, it's not, Dan.
Fake. Yes, it
Dan,
is.
I've watched more Survivor than you've caught replaced with buses.
You've watched a production show, Morgan. It's fake.
No.
Wake up, sheeple.
Producers and directors. It's all fake.
No, it's not.
My turn.
Oh, which country Survivor have you been watching?
I want to watch Survivor Ranger.
Yeah, you're stuck on an island with some ranger who's got a shotgun and he's trying to kill you.
And they all get teased and have to go on a different Survivor show.
They all get sent to fucking Ghost Island because they're white as ghosts.
Daywalkers. I'm going to really quickly have some goo. For the state of the game, we've been hearing about how shit it is and, we got to do this, we got to change all this. Well, this week had some fucking fantastic games, and you know what? Nothing was that different about it. The umpires might have changed the interpretations marginally, but otherwise, straight up, it was awesome. And, yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, certainly not speaking about the game that I fucking went to, but there was some good games on.
Maybe people just need to hold off on their tears for a little bit, because evolution does tend to play out and work all right. Let's go into the games, and we'll begin with the best game of the round, possibly the best game of the season. It happened in West Horsham. Who saw this?
Yeah, it was fucking fantastic.
I did see it, but I couldn't foresee the outcome or Fatlop winning the game for Port Adelaide.
That game was won and lost like 4 different times.
It was.
Within 2 minutes, and it was fucking exhilarating. If you watch that game and then at the end went, yeah, football's dead, then you're an idiot.
Yes. Penal's favourite non-Horfy, Robbie Gray, kicked 6 goals in a fraction over a quarter of football.
When was the last time someone kicked 5 goals in a quarter?
That Ronky dude?
No, he was a half.
Yeah.
He did it in a half. Gray kicked 5 in the third, the premiership quarter. I reckon you'd have to go back to that time Scott Lucas kicked like 7 in a quarter for 5 in a quarter.
Petrie did it against the Bulldogs like 6 years ago or something. He kicked like 6 in the first quarter.
I think Buddy probably kicked 5 in the last quarter of the 13.
He probably did.
Yeah, I think he really padded his stats in the last there.
Yeah, he had a day out that day. He wasn't telling the doctor his thoughts on the couch that day.
No bruised heels.
No Bruce Hill either, no.
But what else do we have out of that game? Like, yeah, amazing that it's fucking Fatlop that comes through with the goods at the end after the Crows thought they had it won.
He's supposed to fuck it up, but he actually won it the game.
The Crows came from absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. They left too much time on the clock in the end. That's the funniest part. They were nowhere near it, and they left a full minute.
Yeah, well, it gave me fucking flashbacks of New Orleans Saints. We left too much time on the fucking clock. Anyway, it was great. Like, clutch goal from Walker, who'd done nothing all day. Clutch goal from McGovern.
It was just amazing the way that finished.
Yeah, it was a great game. Really great game.
And Port's run of, what was it, like 10 out of 11 goals or whatever it was, from late in the second to early in the last was just phenomenal as well. It was just like, that came out of nowhere, but it was blistering. Just great footy. Skills were high. It wasn't like a scrappy, close game. The sort of game that deserves to be seen by everyone, not shunted to 440 on a Saturday Arvo. Like, what else have we got?
Why were there so many fucking games on Saturday? This got stuck in the middle of shit, and shit.
Because of Mother's Day. They don't schedule 3 games on a Sunday on Mother's Day anymore.
Oh, who gives a fuck?
Well, no one turns up.
Surely that would have been a candidate for a Thursday night, though, with Port in China the following week, especially. Like, I'm sure they could have made that work.
I think they said that on 360.
Jacking off on a Thursday night. I love it.
I think they said that on 360 this week that it should have, or last week that it should have been a 440 on a Thursday game, not shunted off to the side. And I have to agree.
No, it got stuck in the middle of shitty Saturday games.
Yeah, when you consider that some of the Friday night games that have been dished up to us and they're all like, oh, blah, 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 Victorian teams, this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, sometimes you just want to watch what the best contest will be, and at the moment, the way the teams are placed, Crows versus Port, in a showdown, they're evenly enough matched that you'll probably get a very good game. They put on, at least once a year, they put on a very good game between each other.
But usually with those games and the Derby's another one, it doesn't really matter where they are on the ladder, unless one team's really, really bad. You usually get a good game. No one expects Freo to do anything this year, but the Derby was still a really good game, I think.
Yeah, but I reckon if you went back through the showdowns, most years there would be at least one that was a good game. And even if the scoreboard makes it look bad, it was probably still pretty close with about somewhere in the last, like it was up for grabs. Anything else out of it?
The Adelaide supporters on Facebook, bit tasteless. There was a photo of Robbie Gray with, I think, his baby and wife, and then someone commented and said, wish cancer had taken you.
Oh, fuck that. That's where South Australians just...
Yeah.
That's where South Australians are just so out of touch with, like, normal humanity. It's like how they have not evolved yet.
Yeah, they're still apes, really.
They're still walking on their knuckles.
Speaking of going ape shit, Ken Hinkley went pretty ape shit in the box after the game.
What the hell was that all about? What was he signaling?
I don't know. What was that 1-0? Like, he's doing like a finger, like a 1-0. It's like, is that...
He was like, because a lot was made of the fact that Adelaide had won 5 showdowns in a row, so I think he just did the gesture to say that 5-0 is no more, it's 1-0 now to Port, which is, pretty cringeworthy.
Streak of one.
Like everything else that comes out of that club, it's pretty cringeworthy.
Port will make a winning streak DVD.
A DVD streak of 1.
They'll win. Look, I think Port probably needed a game like this for anyone to take them seriously. Because of all the teams who are hard to pick their form lines, Port have been pretty consistent in not really beating top 8 teams, but still losing to them. Like, they almost seem to be exactly where they were last year. Can't beat the good sides. Do beat the ones that maybe they should beat, and they're expected to. And this was, I'd say, a bigger scalp.
They needed a scalp.
Yeah. Let's go to one game that was quite interesting on the Friday night. Hawthorn got ronkied. Luke Ronke did it again. Got sunk by a Kiwi.
Where the hell?
Yeah, all of a sudden I don't like Luke Ronke anymore that much.
Got a 7 for. Honestly, after the way Sydney have been, they're winning all the ones that you go, they probably shouldn't win. And they're losing the ones that, before the game, they probably shouldn't lose. Although they're clearly winning away, so maybe they're better away from... Maybe their cheat ground, as we said, is Skilled Stadium.
Do you agree with my assessment of the game that if Buddy had played, we would have won that quite easily?
Well, if he played with a real bruised heel, you might have. But if he played with the injunction bruised heel, I'm going to say no.
My reasoning being that perhaps if Buddy was not there, then Sydney's full entries would have been predictable. Our defence wouldn't have been chooks with their heads cut off by me. And some fucking no-name wouldn't have kicked 7 goals. That's a given. But then again, we would have still had Will Langford in the team, so anything's possible.
I don't think it all comes down to the forward-line entries, because I don't think you're on top of them around the ground. Like, you weren't getting much out of Mitchell or O'Meara or Smith even. They weren't exactly setting the world on fire. Like, you were losing the midfield battle. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it's just whenever they bloody went inside 50, they kicked a goal, and I think if they were a bit more predictable with old injunction there, then that probably wouldn't have happened.
One theory I do want to raise about Sydney getting up, it's not mine, but I saw it raised on the Bay. 1-3 at home and 3-1 away, I think it is. They are for the season. And as someone said, could this be a silent protest from the Colas players to not win when Kenny's around? Deliberately.
What is this? A hurry up and die protest?
No, just
they just don't want him in the circle, so they only win when he's not there.
They want to sing the song without Kenny.
Well, just kick Kenny out. He's an old bastard.
Yeah, but they probably feel bad about that.
Yeah, like you wouldn't do that to Kenny. Well, they wouldn't.
Like,
But they're morally okay to deliberately lose at home. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Do they even have a cheer squad, or is it just Ken and a few of his mates at that end of the ground?
A few of his mates from the RSL.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Actually, one thing that did just come to mind is, Penal, it was good to see you back in the country getting along with this game.
The crowd. I thought everyone agreed that was Bosk.
Where have I seen him before?
At another
Who,
Hawthorn
Bosk?
game.
It's not his
Yeah.
first appearance.
Oh, he's on the
Cover.
What's the
The cover image.
the cover? That's it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, because he's appeared
That's
before. I'm pretty certain it's the same person. I think back then we said it was Jasny or Bosk, but, you know, it's Hawthorn. They're probably all sharing the suit.
It's the guy. I know who it is. It's the guy that was standing on the back of the train, and because he survived, he turned into this nutcase, Superman-looking Batman guy, Hawthorn superhero.
Hawthman.
Yeah.
Hawthorn.
It's like Clarko always says, everyone gets a lick of the ice cream, so everyone gets to wear the suit, and the ice cream comparison is probably quite apt because nobody cleans the suit either after wearing it, so yeah, everyone does get their lick, if you know what I mean. I think the real issue out of the game, which has been expertly raised by Master Troll Clarko, is the Sydney defenders' illegal blocking tactics.
How is this that Clarko gets the sulks up over something and thinks that, I've got a direct line to the CEO. I'm going to ask him out for breakfast under false pretenses and go, what the fuck's going on, Gil?
But doesn't he get people talking though? I mean, it's great. It's just like the ducking thing earlier in the year, because he just gets everyone ravenous and frothing at the mouth, and the Geelong supporters go, Selwood doesn't duck, he shrugs, it's different. And then all the neutrals went, yeah, we all know Selwood ducks, but Puopolo does it too. Clarko's a hypocrite. And it creates a healthy debate and brings out a lot of, stupid people.
Did we see that the memo went around that the shepherding's out? What a little bitch of a snitch.
What a fucking bitch.
Yeah, fucking Clarko, mind your own business, go through the proper channels like everybody else.
I think he's nailed it. Like, if you want something done right, you're going to have to do it yourself. And so he did what was within his control and sat down with his good mate Gil to have a friendly discussion over breakfast. And the next day, all is right with the world. The game will be improving because there will be more marking infringements paid, which will lead to a better spectacle for everyone.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want. More free kicks.
Like, there's coaches like bloody Fagan, for example, who can't call up Gillen for a sit-down meeting because Gillen probably doesn't even know who he is. Like, it's not really a level playing field.
Well, he doesn't have the runs on the board. Like, Clarko is an ornament to the game. He's
an ornament.
Been coaching. He's the longest-serving coach now in terms of tenure at his current club. He's won
He's
4
a very
flags.
small
counted 4.
ornament.
He is a very small ornament.
Yeah, but he's the brightest star that you put on the very top of the Christmas tree. He is the angel.
He's a figurine.
You make me sick with your goo chugging.
It's part of the deal. When you sign up for a membership, they sort of take your soul and say, you must chug Hawthy goo 100% of the time. It's a bit like Scientology. It's like they've got a folder on me, and if I don't chug the goo, they're going to let out all the dirt on me and publish it in the newspaper, just like Tom Cruise being gay, you know? If I go off message here, it'll be in the papers tomorrow.
Cape Hawthorn supporters' secret life.
The Hawthorn supporter and the egg.
What came first, the hawk or the egg?
What came first?
Speaking of coaches and ornaments to the game, did anyone see Mick Malthouse advocating promotion relegation to make things more interesting?
This isn't the EPL.
The old man's yelling at the cloud. He reckons a bottom 8 league would be really interesting with promotion relegation. I'm just thinking that's like the worst thing you can have.
No.
Because then you get 8 teams that can't win the flag.
How's that going to work when you don't get to play fucking Collingwood every week because they're in the bottom league?
No,
The AFL's not ever going to do that.
I think the idea has some merit. It just needs a little bit of tweaks. So I managed to see a bit of the Fremantle St Kilda game on the weekend, and my first thought was, gee, both these teams should be relegated and replaced with absolutely nobody. So that would be a good start. Let's just have a 16-team comp. Fremantle and St Kilda can play in their own league, and they can play each other every week for the Ross Lyon Cup. Plugger will be happy.
They could shit fight over it forever.
The rest of us will be happy because we won't have to watch Freo.
Well, I wouldn't exactly be happy because then my club becomes the default poor club again without St Kilda, and we can't have that.
Don't worry, Dan, you'll be the poor club again soon enough. Speaking of North, let's go to one of the other good games of the round, probably the next best game of the round, was Richmond against North on Mother's Day in front of 29,000 and a couple of vegans.
So where were your 80,000 members?
Well, it's not our home game. We pay equalisation tax to North. We don't need to pay anymore.
Do people only go to home games? Like, is that an actual thing?
You have twice as many members and 3 times the amount of supporters. Where were you?
Most memberships only cover home games. The traditional ones, they're either the 11s or the 3s.
Where were you?
Well, I wasn't there. It was an away game at Etihad. I went, fuck it, I'll watch it on TV. And then, yeah, Mother's Day
it's
shit.
People like you that give my club a bad name.
Where the fuck were your supporters?
At a home game with Richmond because of people like you. It was Sunday. They would have let you in for free because they let kids in for free. No excuse.
Yeah, I don't particularly care.
You could have gone into the ground after the game and had a kick.
You would have had to wear gloves, though, because those hairy hands would give you away.
No.
4-4. This is the sort of thing I expect from Suze, but not from you.
Stop expecting handouts, Dan, for North.
Expecting opposition supporters to turn up is not expecting a handout. Like, I just find it so hilarious that people don't turn up to non-home games.
Well, it's because it's not playing. Yeah, but it's not a home game you paid for. Like, if you remember, you've paid for games already. Like, I go to non-Richmond home games, but they're at the MCG, where I get in anyway because of the MCC.
So either pay the $20 or get an 18-game membership.
Yeah, but sometimes it can't be fucked.
No.
Oh, that's very Suze-esque.
You're sitting here at 11 o'clock on a Monday night. You can be fucked.
Yeah, if you can be bothered doing this, you give some fuck.
Yeah, I give enough fucks to actually stay in and watch a game for once. Stop derailing it. Let's talk about the fucking game. I see Jack Zeeble suspended for sniping again.
Yeah, well, that's Zeeble for you. Snipe's got a snipe. I didn't see it. So I don't know what he did.
I've since seen it. It's a less severe knee than what Sicily did to Selwood, but it's still pretty dumb.
No, it's fucking not. That had no force behind it. It was just dumb. I think Zeebel's had more force.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, if you add the fact it was Zeeble, it probably does.
Only because Zeeble picks him up beforehand, that was the dumb part. You fucking idiot.
I saw the McDonald one that got reported.
There was nothing in that.
I saw it live, but the replays showed it the other angle that it was nothing.
But especially when now you can bump but you can't tackle, apparently. Because Parker got off too. Parker. But what else do we have out of North versus Richmond?
Suze reckons that North was screwed over by the umpires.
Fuck me.
Even though we had 4 free kicks, we got a hard run from the umps, and they kind of helped Richmond.
She's the sort of person who, if you said that about North winning, she'd tell you to go get fucked cunt biscuit.
Well, you got to take her word on some merit because she is a fellow umpire, and
she understands the umpiring caper better than
the mechanics of the game. Yes. So maybe there is something there. Maybe you did get the rub of the green.
I can't think of much out of this. Dusty was quiet. I was actually, for the first time all year, I had one of my Hardwick moments. Not sacking, but like, why the fuck is Dusty not playing forward when he's not getting many kicks in the midfield and our forward line we had a lot of passengers up there, and it took until the last quarter when it got a little bit dicey.
Is an octopus that cannot be denied. He just gets a latch on people and he doesn't let go.
I'd say more of a leech, really.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he still hasn't let go of Tom Mitchell like 4 weeks later. That would explain a lot.
Yeah, he's a leech. He sucked Mitchell dry.
But it allowed Cochin to play
Cochin just picked up the slack. He had a fantastic game, Dan. Just really showed the sort of player that he is now. star A grader.
No, he's not a star. He's over.
Oh, fuck.
He's a good contested player, but he's nothing special. Don't get too caught up in the hype and the hair. It's true. It's the view that a lot of people have on this guy.
A view that a lot of people, if you still hold that view on this guy, you're an idiot.
Is this all based on the final series that he had?
No, it's not. It's based on basically 2 years of football now. And what he was doing probably...
And the cheap stats that
he didn't win the Brownlow for no reason, Dan.
He didn't win the Brownlow.
He did win the Brownlow. Stop endorsing drug cheats. Stop endorsing drug cheats.
He's the greatest Brownlow medalist that came second, Starburns. So he didn't win it.
Yeah, well, fucking Robert Harvey didn't win one of his either.
Well, that's different.
No, it's not. It's more deserving if you lose to a drug cheat than a suspended player.
He's not that good. But he's not that good.
Right, you're an idiot.
He's a good contested player. Granted.
He's good both. He tore you up inside and outside yesterday.
Because there was zero accountability for him. Jacobs went to Dusty. He can't contain two players at once.
Fucking hell. He's done pretty well at breaking tags in recent years anyway. The tag thing's only going back.
I was disappointed that he went to Dusty because I'd rather him just eventually destroy Cochin again, and that would have been funny.
Oh, the way Cochin was playing Jacobs wouldn't have done shit yesterday. Anything else on this game?
I just otherwise because Jacobs has stopped everybody he's played on. And Cochin's not that good anyway. That's why Brad Scott told Jacobs to go to Dusty.
Genius coaching move. That
bit of real talk time.
Yes, thank you.
It's a view that I'm starting to hear a bit in football circles. Is Ben Brown a flopper?
What he goes to the ground too easily.
There were one or two that weren't too good.
He's got a bit of the Dean Cox about him, the wacky flailing arms.
It's just a bit of sideshow Bob.
He's built like a giraffe, Penal, and he does have long, dangly arms.
If he gets run underneath the ball a little bit, he does throw the arms in the air. But he's certainly not the only player in the comp to do that.
He's not Matthew Lloyd.
Well, Lloyd threw himself forwards. Brown, when he gets underneath it, when he gets sort of moved underneath the ball, and his legs go, he'll throw the arms up in the air as though.
Yeah, so he's not at Lloyd levels yet because I haven't watched.
No, well,
he's not even close.
He's not. No one's at Lloyd or Nick Revolt level.
I just watched a few of the ones where he did the Dean Cox
the flappy arms,
and so say, "Ooh, is this a pattern?" But
old inflatable arms.
I'd much rather him waving his arms like that than Goddard doing the Goddard version of waving your arms.
I'm pretty sure you'd rather have fucking anyone than Goddard.
Yep.
Anything else on Richmond North?
The game was alright, I suppose.
It was a good game. It was a high quality game.
Richmond look buggered. I don't think they'll even make top 4 now. You look cooked. What that good?
The pressure was off overall, but generally I'm not that concerned. We got by on a few players making basic errors.
I think you're gone. I think you're gone.
Well, you can continue to think that, but
I think you're gonna lose the next 6 in a row.
Next 6 in a row. Do you know who we play after West Coast?
I have no idea. Please, who do you play?
We play St Kilda, then we play Essendon.
Okay, well maybe 4 out of the 6 you I think
St Kilda beat them last year. Lightning can strike twice.
Well, let's hope it's not at Etihad Stadium so that you can go to these games, yeah?
It's at the MCG. But anyway, thank you, Geelong, for Josh Caddy, too. That's really working out well for us. Let's go to... You did mention Brendan Goddard before, and let's go to, well, this had an ominous feel to it, even before the ball got bounced. It was so tempting to tip Carlton, and I really wish I did. But did anybody tip Carlton?
I did, but then I fucked up my week by tipping North and Collingwood.
Me too. But I tipped Sydney.
No, I tipped Essendon. Foolishly tipped Essendon.
I tipped Sydney because I forgot to put my tips in again.
I chucked a multi on for Carlton, Brisbane and Collingwood, and I was feeling pretty good Sunday afternoon. I'm like, ooh, but obviously it didn't pan out thanks to fucking Lewis Taylor. No, it was amusing to see them get rolled, but Essendon look genuinely awful. Very, very fucking awful.
Can't say I'm surprised though. I mean, they've been woeful all year.
I know, but there's losing games to teams that are playing okay football and just not having it click, and then there's losing to Carlton. That's another level. Because Carlton's been playing some pretty poor football for most of the year. Like, can you think of a game other than where they got a bit of a jump in round one where Carlton have actually looked like winning it before this?
Well, they should have won round one against the Tigers. Let's be real
Oh,
about that.
fucking idiot.
So they haven't been as bad as Essendon, but they've still been pretty bad.
It was funny. Did anyone see the Carlton players roughing up Goddard?
No, I didn't see that. I didn't even watch the game, but that doesn't surprise me.
Did they send Jed Lamb to him?
They did.
'Cause that's what they did to Sicily and got inside his head. Yeah.
And Lamb started roughing him up and Goddard wasn't liking it. No one was helping him out. They're just a team of guys who do not give a fuck about playing as a team at all. Like, they just let Goddard cop it. There was no remonstration. There was no nothing. It was funny because it was Goddard, but if it was someone else, you'd almost go, where are his teammates?
Well, who would want to support him?
Well,
Not
exactly.
even his teammates would want to.
No, but I was reading after as well that apparently Zach Merritt got tagged out of the game and no one really
Yeah, by
did
Curnow.
anything to help break the tag. No one laid any blocks or anything. Just I think they've fallen so far that they're just a team of individuals and everyone's just worried about their own spot and their look on the stat sheet, and no one wants to do the team things anymore.
And it's round 8 and they're already doing that. Like,
Not good.
there's still plenty of time to go and they have 2 wins. They're like 2 wins outside the 8, but they're playing like they don't give a fuck. The only other thing I'd say out of this game is, did anyone catch Brendan Bolton doing a Clarko?
I saw that. That's happened.
Master and apprentice stuff.
Yes. I see no issue with it. It's not like he walked over to him and said anything particularly bad. He just, as he walked past, told him to fuck off. And you know what? I'd tell Bagley to fuck off too if I was Bolton.
Yeah, I'd tell that dribbling looking cunt to fuck off as well.
Dribbling.
Yeah, that
looking.
birthmark makes it look like he's constantly dribbling all the time.
Yes, that burn mark
Anyway.
makes it look like he's dribbling.
Yeah. I'm just imagining it in my head now. That it's funny.
Do we want to talk about the Bagley Jed Lamb thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
If he didn't know his dad had died, what the fuck was he talking to him about? No one makes dad jokes, like, about your dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
You make jokes about people's
God.
mums that are insulting.
And if you get warned off that once fairly firmly, would you not go, oh, maybe I should make a joke about his sister or his brother? You know what I mean?
Oh no, I'm just saying the only comment about someone's dad I can remember is Michael Voss to his brother Brett. My dad fucked your mum last night. That's an all-time classic. But did anyone see Essendon's statement that they
Yes,
put
and
out?
Bagley's one. Yes, I did.
Oh, obviously it went up on the Essendon website and they said basically Mark Bagley was responding to taunts Jed Lamb made about his appearance. Obviously, he's got a pretty
His face.
recognisable, aka
Dribble chin.
ugly face.
It's a dribble chin.
But it's just typical Essendon, isn't it? You always
Pointing the finger.
trying to deflect the blame,
Yeah,
not take
but they also said
responsibility.
this is not the first time that Jed Lamb's made these insults to him. So obviously, Jed Lamb's got one insult and he knows that it's really annoyed Mark Bagley, so he's just going with it every time.
And when you factor that in, do you not think that maybe Bagley came prepared this time?
Yeah,
Mm,
I think absolutely.
good point.
I've got absolutely no doubt that he knew what he was doing. No doubt.
Well, he plays
What
for
kind
Essendon,
of-
of course he did.
What kind of joke do you make about somebody's dad?
I guess the pull-out joke's the only one you can really make.
Yeah, or I guess your dad would have been embarrassed to raise such a soft player or gutless player or something along those lines. Bit of a stretch, not as
Yeah,
obvious
maybe-
as the
maybe
comments
if
about
you're playing on-
someone's mum.
If you were playing on Gary Ablett, you might make that joke.
Yeah, until he goes, yeah, and he might have killed her and you're next. Fuck.
Did anyone catch 360 when this came up?
No, I don't watch
The
it.
way Robbo was defending Bagley in this, you would have thought he had fucking red hair. The way he was talking about, oh, he's copped it his whole life. It's just like, yeah, but if he's copped it his whole life, he's probably used to it by now. Like, you'd think.
But the fact that they included that in their statement, like the statement should have just been he wasn't aware, he apologised after the game, apology was accepted, move on. The fact that they had to put that little sniping cheap shot in there at Lamb to say, he's been doing it for years, umpire. Deflecting blame, can't take responsibility. just encapsulates that club perfectly.
Nobody looks good out of this. Like, the fact that it even found its way to the media after they shook hands, apology, everybody moved on, the players moved on. Clearly Carlton has worded up whoever the journo was, and they've run with the story, and then Essendon had come out and thrown them under the bus. It's like, you clubs have no idea.
Well, it's not like they've got anything else to worry about. Like, they're fucking terrible. But this is what we're going to go with this week, guys. We're going to worry about who said you're ugly and who said your dad's dead. Like, fucking get stuffed. Just, you're both a laughing stock.
Yeah.
Like, one of you beat the other in a cripple fight and you're all celebrating. Go and get fucked. You're all terrible.
Yeah, you belong in the relegation league.
You're bringing down the big four. Grow up.
Yes, we're gonna, because of you, we have to entertain letting Hawthorn in.
Yeah.
And we don't want that.
Richmond would like you to actually get your shit together because you're bringing us down.
But let's be real.
This is coming from a team who can't make the finals.
And a team that was shit for 37 years.
And you're bringing us down, even though you've both got 16 flags.
Anything else out of this particular game?
It was just the battle of who was the biggest shit, and this was Essendon. Essendon is the record.
Owen died at Carlton, but he lives on at Brisbane, who we'll go to next. Brisbane against the Dogs. This had some awful skills in it.
No, another game I didn't watch. How about that?
I did, hoping for a Brisbane win, and they fucked it in many, many ways. Lewis Taylor tried to handball over the man on the mark and straight to him when the Bryans were coming. Hipwood kicked, I think, 5 out on the full for the game. Brisbane are getting closer and closer each week, but they keep finding ways to fuck it up. Morgs will be pretty happy to hear that Beams was shit.
Yeah, I'm thrilled by that. Just playing in another one of the huge amount of losses he's had since he moved to Brisbane. 6 wins he's played in since he's been there. 6.
Out of how many games is that, roughly?
Not yet 100.
It's all right. They only have girls. No, actually, I think the next child's a boy. 37.
Oh, it's not that bad, I suppose.
Well, 1 in every 6 still.
Oh, hang on. Maybe that's only until last year. So 44? 45?
Yeah, it's not looking so good.
Yeah, 1 in 8. That's what, not even 3 wins a year.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, out of this game, did anyone see Rayner's little squib, head duck?
No, I didn't see a second of this. Well, why would I want to watch a second of this? Boring versus boring.
It was probably not even the worst game on at that time.
Is that in the squib of the year thread?
It should be. It was in the last quarter. He ducks his head as the ball comes through, and yes, it was quite bad. First year player, but at the same time, when you're built like a fucking
Mack truck, I believe the expression is.
Yes, you probably shouldn't be afraid of anyone on the dogs list.
It'd be funny if it was Caleb Daniel gets out of the way.
Let's go to St Kilda against Freo. Major thing out of this is fucking St Kilda's goal kicking is abysmal. Membry was awful. Anything about that game?
Plugger's theory of Ben Dixon being a plant that we sent to sabotage St Kilda to make up for the O'Meara trade is growing legs every week.
As long as Plugger's got a conspiracy theory to keep him happy, I think we can indulge that. Yeah, I got nothing much out of this. As Penal said, this was a shit game, and both of these two teams should just hurry up and fold. Moving on. West Coast might be legit, beating GWS. I know GWS had injuries, but West Coast have won like 3 on the road already now. So, you know, if they're going to win at home at Disco Stadium, they can keep winning there, then they're every chance of finishing top 2 and walking to the grand final.
West Coast had plenty out too. Obviously, Nick Matt suspended for tackling.
It's really inconvenient for my wooden spoon prediction. Like, every week it just keeps getting fucking worse.
If they win the flag, you'll be in the same boat as all those people who picked Sydney for the spoon in 2005.
They won't win the flag. Putting that out there right fucking now.
They might.
They will not win the flag.
The grand final is at the MCG. They won't win the flag.
They barely got over Carlton at the G.
If they get the Crows or Puffers, you never know.
Well, that's their only chance if they play another interstate team on the MCG.
Yeah, I'd back them to beat the Puffers.
Or Geelong. Geelong can't play the MCG either.
Oh, they'd get intimidated by all the West Coast supporters booing because
yes.
apparently you're not allowed to boo at a final.
But no, they do look good. Can't deny that. Let's go to Collingwood Geelong. Morgs. Anything out of this? You struggled to score this week.
I struggled to stay awake. Was that a hard game to watch? I don't know how we went from... Well, I do know how we went from being a high-scoring, fast-paced side one week to fucking boring as batshit, and then there's Geelong. They play a shit brand of football.
45. Jesus.
They play a boring-ass, dire brand of football. It's crap.
Also, it's Geelong's fault that you scored so low.
Yeah, well, we've been fine at scoring every other week. Yeah, they play boring football and we played shit football. We had some more hamstring injuries. I'm not sure when we're going to address the fact that we're obviously training on top of a car park because we're getting repeated hamstring strains.
Any bruised heels?
No.
Doesn't sound as though your club is being very hamstring aware there.
No, they are very hamstring unaware. So, yeah, Elliot did another one when he came back in the VFL. Moore did one in the game. Yeah, no, it was crap. Yeah, I don't know how we only lost by like 20-something points.
Geelong aren't very good at football.
They couldn't score, really.
We were just rubbish. So, if you can only beat us by 20 points when we play that poorly, then you are...
Last game, real quickly, Suns played Melbourne. I didn't realise how much Melbourne kicked away in this one until I actually saw the score on Monday. And I went, you fucking kidding me? Nothing out of this except Stephen May got cited for the ump contact. What's our verdict?
Oh, well, no, it doesn't matter if you make contact with an umpire anymore, apparently. It only mattered last week.
Yeah, let's ignore the Curnow fuck-up. Did May deserve to go? I don't believe he did. I think when you're demonstrating like that and you make an accidental contact, it's not...
I don't think he deserved to go.
No, he got a fine. He got hit in the hip pocket, for a fuck-up. But, yes, since we're on it, the Curnow brothers, how fucked is that?
No suspension required.
Is Carlton reaching into the brown paper bags?
Charlie Curnow getting off, I can sort of understand, but Ed Curnow should go buy a lotto ticket right now, because he is very lucky to be playing on the weekend.
The best comment I saw about this, though, and it was hilarious, was Julian De Stoop on AFL 360 this evening. And he said, Carlton beat Essendon, and these two got off at the tribunal. It's the best week at Carlton since 1995. You could probably make that case, apart from them rolling Essendon at prelim. It probably is.
No, they played finals from ninth, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they beat Richmond.
Yeah, well... That worked out really well for them because Malthouse really kicked on.
Oh, don't get mad about it, Starburns.
Oh, come on. We didn't mean to bring it up and make fun of Richmond. Geez. Sorry.
Oh.
Didn't he just get real narky?
Yeah, he did.
How did that work out for him?
He's had all these months of bliss where no one has had to say anything about Richmond negatively, and now the first one that pops up, it's like, no, how dare you? Don't say that.
Don't get narky about something like that. Fucking hell, from the woman who every time we mention St Kilda asks how Nathan Freeman's going. By the way, he's getting closer to debut.
I am inquiring. Well, I hope he debuts this week. The little fucking weasel. Speaking of hamstring awareness.
Are they playing you?
Yes.
But everyone will be watching the wedding,
out, Nathan. So... Come out, wherever you are.
If Nathan Freeman plays during the royal wedding and no one watches it, did it really happen?
Well, if he does his hamstring during the royal wedding, did it really happen? Fucking oath it will. He won't play this week because he's a fucking coward.
Nothing else on umpire contact or Melbourne Suns?
It sends the complete wrong message.
Yeah,
Last week it was you can't make contact with an umpire, and that was fine. This week it is you can make contact with an umpire.
Normally I would be enjoying the Geelong Melts, but they have every reason to be shitty over this.
Should the AFL challenge, like they did with Hooley, at least for the Ed Curnow one? Because that one just looks like the wrong decision to everyone.
The option is there, but I think they're only ever going to do it on something that's so... And I guess maybe this falls in the parameters of it, but something that's so grossly off like the Hooley one for 2.
I think this one's in that category because, Hawkins last week, 1 week, everyone says that's the precedent, and then they go and ignore the precedent this week. I think that's when you'd want to be stepping in and saying we should challenge it. The penalty wasn't appropriate.
Who are these Muppets on the tribunal this year? It's because it's changed.
Stuart Lowe and some other doofuses. Forget their names.
Bet you Greg Williams is on there. Do whatever you want to the maggots. Greg Williams And who was the guy who belted the umpire?
Get BT on there.
Yes, BT. You got all the ump haters. Plugger, Clarko, he's got form with umpires.
Speaking of the Suns, let's move on to the talking points, and we will begin with
Joel Wilkinson.
Can we refer to him by his proper name, please?
Harry O.2.
Heritia Lamumba II.
I thought he was poor man's Kaepernick, really, except without a case.
Yeah.
Fair dinkum. The most offensive thing about this whole thing is that Joel Wilkinson believes he's actually peddling the line that his career was cut short due to anything other than his inability to play football. And it's been said enough times by people like Bartel and who was the other one? Matthew Lloyd, maybe, that Joel Wilkinson was just not very good at football.
When people do claims like these years down the track, and this is like a 7-year gap, yeah? Like 6 or 7 years?
Oh, it's been ages. He went to the VFL and then he went to the NFL. And it's only after all those have fallen through that he's come back and claimed racism.
When you do this later down the track, I already start to question the validity of what you're claiming. I mean, if it was,
You're laughing at validity.
Validity.
I was going to let that pass. I didn't want to go down.
Couldn't.
What did I say?
Validity.
You have a track order these sorts
Isn't that?
It's validity.
Oh, validity. Sorry. Okay, that's an honest mistake. Whatever. Then
You don't need to say sorry.
No, I have to because everything gets picked up now. You'll let Cookson pronounce his T's with an F every week, and that never gets brought up.
Joel Wilkinson of this podcast, you poor fucking victim.
Like, yeah, actually, now that we're talking about Wilkinson, like, how hard could he have really had it at the Suns? It's not like he was Rory Thompson with red hair. Like, it could have been worse.
No, it's true. He wasn't a redhead.
Imagine being a ranger on the Gold Coast. You get burnt. It's hot.
Guy McKenna got sacked. He should play the discrimination card because rangers have it worse, and he got sacked.
Imagine being a ranger atheist at the Gold Coast. That would have been fucking shit.
Well, this is the best part about this thing. He said he was subjected to religious persecution or something along those lines. It's just like what happened to Gary trying to convert him. Or is he a different sort of Christianity? And Gary kept saying, "Yours is wrong, man. Come with us." Like,
yeah, they wouldn't let him in their little prayer circle.
Of all the places to claim you had religious vilification at, the Gold Coast Suns of that era would be the last place that would have happened. You can't pray with us. Is that what it was? Like, fucking hell.
Yeah, no, I'm really starting to question the validity of his claims.
It's very Harry-O, though. It's so, like, apparently he actually has been hanging around with Harry-O. That just doesn't surprise. And I'm not sure how it's the AFL's fault that some Collingwood nuffy racially abused him over the fence. Justin Sherman got suspended. Collingwood nuffy had his membership torn up. What more are the AFL meant to do in that case?
You can't, like, tape people's mouths shut.
No, you can't kick them out till they've already done something. This isn't thought crime, you know? Like, fucking
You can't proactively ban people because they might say that you're black. Like, I fail to see how they could have done anything more when it comes to the fan or to Justin Sherman. They made him apologise, they suspended him, blah, blah, blah.
And the religious thing sounds like a total wank considering the club.
And I'm sure at the time he came out and said that he accepted the apology and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. In some of those cases, they're probably guided to that conclusion, but at the same time...
Oh, of course they are, but you've allowed it to be put on record that you accepted it.
The only thing here that's interesting, or that has any legs, because the religious things are wank too, is that maybe he copped a little bit of the in-club, behind closed doors in the rooms sort of discussion, but really, to claim that that's the reason he didn't make it as a footballer is a big racist conspiracy, spare me.
What's the sexual thing that he put in there?
Well,
what's that claim?
Everyone just jumped to the conclusion that they comment because of his ethnicity that everyone just gravitated to his dick.
Because he didn't fit a stereotype. That's my guess.
Or because he did, one way or the other.
Oh, because he wasn't Robin Nahas.
And that shows the level of sense of humour that, once again, Harry-O seemed to have about himself and everyone around him. If your case hinges on the fact that there was a conspiracy to keep you out of the game and you're as spudly as he was, it's not going to work. Like, you can claim what you want, but really, no one robbed him of a career.
The only person that robbed him of a career was Jesus when he handed out his genetics. It's just not very good. No talent.
No football brain, no football skills. Just some very good athletic gifts that, you know, if he couldn't translate into the NFL, then I guess there was nowhere else for him.
That's hardly worth suing someone else over.
No, but did you see him in his presser?
The world will be watching.
The world will be watching. Yes, that was pretty funny. He didn't look in a healthy way, though, did he? Like, the sunken eyes and all that. He looked sort of like a guy who, now that his athletic career is over, has no idea what to do next. And this is the last gasp to bleed it dry. That's my impression.
That's
anyway.
sad. I think it's sad that
It
someone
is.
finds himself at that point.
It's hard to feel sympathy for him because it seems like the situation is entirely his own doing, and yeah.
And he's jumped on, and him and his lawyer jumped on the hush money thing.
There have been people who have had a lot worse, or have been in a lot worse states and turned their life around and turned their end of their football career into being something else.
And
Like, just have a look at Mitch Clark, for instance. Mitch Clark, high-profile depression sufferer.
sad as fuck,
who's
really.
Sad as fuck. His marriage then ended after he was already sad as fuck. Career ended.
Yikes.
Now, guess what he does? AFL photos.
Good on him. I didn't know that. So that's like a
Yeah.
really great
Good story.
thing. Good on him.
Yeah, he does the boundary line photography and everything. Really cool.
And that's the whole thing that with Wilkinson's going this way, it's a good way to burn your bridges, because if you reach out to the PA, generally they will just see if they can find a way through it for you. That's how this shit's meant to work. You know, that's what the whole AFL network is.
I got no doubt that obviously there's been some kind of branch from the AFL to Mitch Clark or something like that, that he's put the question out there to get where he is now. And fantastic. There would be no end to the doors that could be opened if you worked with people rather than working against them.
And for all the bullshit his lawyers spewed about hush money from the AFL, I reckon this action actually stems from more the fact that the AFL didn't present him with hush money. He might have gone in there angling for money. The AFL presented him with an opportunity rather than a cash payment.
Yeah.
Teach a man to fish sort of situation.
If he does mediation with the AFL can offer him a job at the cafeteria at Etihad Stadium, or
No, that's
No,
not...
but they could have, like, they might have gone to him and gone, look, we understand that your career's ended and you don't really have many prospects. How about a role in, like, some kind of, you know, like welfare, Indigenous, blah, 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 blah.
multicultural, whatever. Because the AFL don't have a great track record with their multicultural ambassadors of late. Maybe he could do something like that, you know, whoever's in charge of that, because what's his name, Saad got in trouble and Mifs had got in trouble. So, you know, that's a revolving door, that particular role.
Yeah.
Not that he's qualified to walk straight into it, but he could work under whoever it is.
Oh, you
To
don't
the
need to be
AFL.
qualified for anything at the AFL. If your husband dies, you get a role in fucking AFL Tasmania.
who's that?
Tricia Broadbridge?
Oh yeah, that's sad. Yeah,
That's sad.
Yeah.
What qualifications does she have? She didn't interview. She didn't apply.
To the AFL's credit, because they do get a lot of things wrong at the corporate level, but they are a very inclusive family for players, ex-players, coaches, ex-coaches. Basically, the AFL does seem to be one big extended family, and you saw that with the amount of support that was kind of offered to Bomber Thompson and the way people sort of trying to rally around him with his issues. So I have no doubt that if he had just kind of opened up and spoken and been willing to engage and not go, you know, crazy victim complex blaming and suing everyone, that he would have had a better outcome.
Correct.
if the AFL really wanted to help Mark Thompson, what they should have done, they should have offered him the opportunity to be the linesman on the ground, where he can do the white lines across the field. And, you know, that can be his way of giving back to footy and making an honest dollar.
I don't think you really get this idea of helping people out within the AFL framework.
Well, Would that not help?
I don't think menial jobs are the point. Like, that's West Coast and Ben Cousins, who's really not capable of anything
Well,
more.
it's a lot better than what he's currently doing.
Well, no shit.
Was currently doing.
Dan, would you rather deal ice or draw lines on the ground?
Well, I'd rather draw lines on the ground.
Which one do you think's going to make you more financially better off?
Which one's going to keep him out of jail?
Well, the problem with that is no one ever thinks they're going to get caught.
Drawing lines on the ground, that's fucking boring as batshit. Being nice, you'd choose the ice stealing every day of the week just so you'd have something interesting to fucking talk about.
Plus, does drawing lines on the ground get you a free line into trannies? Let's move on to, we discussed the sexual harassment aspect of the Wilkinson case, and we will come back to Ross Lionstein again. The second woman's come forward now, or the second case.
Is this about Lion, or is this about something else separate as Freo?
I thought it was Lion. Is it Lion?
I don't know.
I didn't actually read it. I just read what the Bay said about it and assumed it was about Lion. Probably should have fact-checked that one.
Fact-checking? What kind of journalist are you?
The kind that works on a podcast like this one, where you've got to question the validity of our statements.
So, what have they come out and said after the second thing? We don't have nothing since?
He held a presser, and I think he sort of gave a apology that was, I'm sorry that these people are upset.
Oh, I'm sorry that you're offended.
Yes, one of those types of apology. Not I'm sorry for what I did, I'm sorry that you feel this way.
Oh, I'm sorry that what I did upset you.
Yes, the weasel apology.
Yeah, making the victim feel like it's their fault.
Yes, the I am squeaky clean, it's your problem, not mine.
And obviously they've referred it to the integrity unit, so they'll just keep hiding behind that. Oh, it's an ongoing investigation. The respect and responsibility policy provides confidentiality for both parties, blah, 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 blah.
I can't wait till John Wilkinson comes out and accuses him of sexual harassment.
Yeah. It's probably not going to resolve itself soon unless there's a leak of some sort from within either the club or the AFL.
I honestly hope it doesn't resolve itself soon, because this actually seems to be, I don't know, Ross Lyon he's a shifty sort of bugger who you think probably has a few skeletons in that particular closet. And the fact that he's had to pay $100,000 to make something like the first one go away suggests that perhaps this is a pattern of behaviour.
Like I said last week, $100,000 is a lot to make budding boobs go away.
Yeah, it must, like, that is almost an investment in keeping the leak from spouting from the damn wall, so that it doesn't actually eventually break.
I haven't even seen this
you don't even want the trickle. You don't even want the trickle to start, because you know when it does,
the flood will come later.
You're in a whole world of trouble.
You can't keep your finger in the dike all day.
The Me Too's will come out, and maybe that's already started. Anyway, nothing else on Lionstein?
Nah.
Can we talk about...
I hope it turns out that he did do it, because I don't like him. So if he fucks off, that'd be good.
Yes. I'm glad that woman has legitimate reasons to be distressed. Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
well, no, I'm not glad that it happened to somebody. Of course not. That's awful. But I hope that it is true. So that he gets what he deserves.
Okay.
I don't want it to have happened, but it's already happened, so no backsies.
What does he deserve, Morgan?
To go away.
Go away?
Yeah, for a long time. I don't like it. I don't like the comment. I think that he's a creeper, and he's
got
gives
that
me
creepy way of walking too.
He's got that, gives those vibes off. There's something not right there, and I've thought it for a long time. So I'll be happy to see him go elsewhere.
I'm satisfied with that answer, Dan.
Is that all right, Dan? Am I allowed to have that response?
No, you're entitled to say whatever you want to say. This is an open podcast where you can say whatever you want without the fear of ramifications of people mocking you or saying anything. Isn't that right?
Dan,
I question the validity of that statement.
Validity of your comments.
I swear to God, Cookson has the longest fucking free parking of anyone.
I love how you pivot straight back to that, Brendan Goddard. Dan's just gone full Essendon and Bagley on Cookson here.
Every time he cops something for something he says now, he just attacks Cookson.
He's not even here to defend himself.
Well, it's not like he would defend himself anyways. He would just sit there and cop it.
Yeah, because he's got a good sense of humour about it.
What about the time that he called you autistic?
That was his greatest. He hit that one off the middle of the bat and it went out of the ground, and that's his only success as a batsman.
And you were so angry. You're like, you said that to me.
It's just like, I've let you off for this.
Exactly. I've been so light on him. I've torn shreds off his crybaby brother. I've been good to Cookson, and I felt stabbed in the back.
Speaking of stabbed in the back, Mark Neild, how's this?
Well, he hasn't been stabbed in the back. He's just the shit coach.
Well, no, Essendon is shit, and after 8 rounds, it's Neild's fault.
Yeah.
Like, come on, a scapegoat.
Even though the club were only letting 3 people talk to the players on game day.
So he got the axe, right? I can't wait for Mark Bagley to sledge him.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, geez.
The only person at the club that's uglier than Mark Bagley was Mark Neild.
Yeah, okay. He might not be a very good coach, but on available evidence, I don't think anyone at Essendon is. Like, do they still have Mark Harvey there?
Yeah, but he wasn't allowed to talk to the players.
Yeah, he's not allowed. Well, I wouldn't let Mark Harvey talk to the players either. He used to think they were getting bugged at Freo.
I reckon he's the second person who put the complaint in against Ross. That cunt took my job.
He took my job.
You took my job.
He took my job, and I'm going to take his job.
It's a club in disarray, but it's amazing that Mark Neild gets done after 8 weeks, but James Hird could be an incompetent drug-dealing fiend and get all the support you ever needed.
Neild is obviously, because of his history with Melbourne, he's a very convenient scapegoat for them to use.
Yes.
And it's just like a distraction, which is basically just trying to buy time and say, hey, look, we're making changes, we're getting rid of Mark Neild because he's the problem. But, yeah, just trying to buy time and see if it all blows over, which it probably won't.
Yeah, like, if they don't get a response, what good was it? Because the same questions are going to be there, you just have one less coach. Who do we think should replace him? Who's allowed to talk to the players?
Aren't they going with, like, a more back to the line coach system now that he's gone? I think I heard something to that effect, that they were just going line coaches direct to players.
It's amazing, though, that they are in a situation now where the talk of sacking Worsfold is on the table after they extended him for 2 years. Like, say what you want about the Buckley and Hardwick extensions at the time that copped so much shit. Worsfold getting extended when he did, after what they beat Adelaide, was absurd.
There's never a reason to extend somebody in round one. He's not a highly sought after coach. No one wanted him.
No.
Yeah, no risk of like GWS or Freo or someone tapping him up. But yeah, surely you'd wait. You'd wait till like the bye rounds, and if you're like 7-4 or something, then you're probably playing finals, and then you probably don't want an out-of-contract coach as a distraction, so you sign him up. But if you're 2-9, you can pull the trigger.
And just go, see you now. Pretty much like, how many clubs have done? I know Richmond did it with Wallace, and Carlton did it with Malthouse, and...
Yeah, because if they hadn't extended him, and they go to like 2-9 or something, and then they sack him, it looks like he's fucked up. But now if they sack him at any point during this year, it looks like they've fucked up, and they have. And
extending them, as we've seen once again with Buckley and Hardwick during those years where they copped the shit, extending the coach does not buy you any breathing room as a board, because the media just write the different story as to why did this guy get an extension. And now it's like, why did this guy only let 3 people talk to him in the box?
So now, rather than it being a him thing, it's a board thing and it's a club thing. Like now, you're on the top of the block. You're named in the media for why did you allow it to happen.
Oh, does that mean they're going to have their own sort of version of Focus on Footy?
Who would run that ticket, do we think? Frog Dog? Focus on Frog
Dog.
It's pretty hard not to.
Fucking Fog Dog, Straffo, Aaron and Bombers.
strategy.
Focus on felons.
Oh shit! Focus on females from the sound of Ross Lyon is their Neil Balm appointment. We're gonna bring in Ross Lyon to focus on females.
And we know that he would go anywhere for $1. Mark Harvey would be like, not this kind of turn. Fucking time.
Oh fuck! Anything else on Neil?
Surely he's done his football now.
Yeah, I think he's done his dash.
Maybe the AFL will find a job for him drawing lines. Let's move on from Neil. The last of our talking points is the ongoing saga of Buddy Franklin's heel.
It really is a very sad situation. He must be in a lot of pain. Wonder if he's taking anything for it.
Anything to numb the pain, perhaps?
Yeah. I don't know. Some kind of anti-inflammatory or something. I don't know. Tablet, powder.
I somehow get the feeling that if he's missing this many games, he's probably not allowed to take anything like that.
Oh, it's very sad for him.
Mm.
And the game. Like, how many more years have we got of this charade where his buddy's got an injury that no one else has ever had?
What do we reckon? What do we reckon's going to be next?
I think he's going to get a hip flexor that takes him out for 10 weeks.
Achilles awareness.
Oh, no, that's not a fucking laughing matter, right?
Eardrum awareness.
As
Just pull something from nowhere.
As someone who has to have ultrasound tomorrow on the Achilles, it's not a laughing matter.
He's going to be sexually harassed by Ross Lyon and have to take some time away from the game due to the trauma.
Yeah, he'll join Heritier and Wilco on their crusade.
Or maybe he's going to be excluded from the religious circle that Kenny holds at Sydney.
That's not a religious circle, it's a bukkake circle, I'm pretty sure. And
Ew.
Kenny's right at the middle.
It's disgusting.
Like, Sydney are not doing themselves any favours, though, if they want the rumours and speculation to stop. Like, he trains last week, apparently, and supposedly is 50-50 to play and then fails a last-minute hurdle fitness test.
At the last minute piss test.
At the last minute, and the following week he is ruled out immediately and said, no, he's not going to play this week. So, yeah, either his heel got worse or there's something they're not letting on, I think.
As soon as this broke, they probably got a timetable of statements out as to how we're going to manage this. Oh, at week 3, we're going to nearly get him back, but it's going to fall through. Then in week 4, we're going to rule him out early to shut everybody up and make it seem like it's all of a sudden got a lot worse. It's like they've carefully stage managed each week of this injury until the injunction time.
And then in week
passed.
5, say, we don't know exactly when he'll be back. And then in week 6, you announce the surprise return next week. Or, yeah, because it is usually 6 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it was in 2012.
Maybe his next absence could be from a teammate shitting his locker, because apparently that's never happened. So that's a fresh one. The saddest part about this is that Buddy's copping so much attention over this. It's very unfair on Buddy, because Dan Hanbury's been missing for, how long is it now? And no one said a word. Got to feel for Buddy, he's clearly the more likeable of that pair too. Yet, Hannah's gets off scot-free.
Oh, well, I'm sure they're enjoying their time off together. Do you think they would be regularly tested during their time off?
Yes. They'll be consulting... Who's a clean skin at Colas? Well, probably Kenny. They'll be consulting Kenny for clean piss.
Oh, Kenny, hold it for him.
Kenny, you drink it for him.
Keep him young, please. Gulping it down.
Nothing else on Buddy's heel?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all genuine.
I think we'll see where this one's at in a couple of weeks' time, just to see if he's back or not. I do love the salt, though, in the Buddy drug scandal thread on this Scandals and Rumours board. The same Sydney supporters who would have thrown so much mud at this 6 years ago are as defensive as it gets on this particular subject. It's great. I love it.
I've never been there. I might have to go check it out.
It's a fun thread because it started with a rumor that he got Jacinta lost her David Jones deal because the CEO of David Jones caught Buddy doing lines in the toilet at the Christmas party. That's how the rumor started, and somehow it's morphed into a Buddy's got 3 strikes thread in the last month or so. Anyway, one really quick talking point I want to mention before we move on. Did anyone see that the Gold Coast reserves went goalless on the weekend?
Yes.
That is pretty pathetic.
But they didn't kick a goal.
They did not kick a goal, and the Bryans still couldn't beat them by 100 points.
That's
Didn't kick a goal
equally
in
as
the knee.
pathetic.
With 11 AFL-listed players in the side.
If your opposition doesn't kick a goal and you don't win by 100 points, that's really bad. But there were games when I was playing in juniors when that happened. Opposition didn't kick a goal and we won by like 130 points.
Yes, but no goals and 11 AFL lists. This isn't even the injury list sort of thing. There was guys like Peter Wright and Cade Collar-Jasny in that team.
Well, so there were legitimate Gold Coast AFL listed players in that team. They couldn't kick a goal.
11 of them. Half the team.
That's pretty
11
pathetic.
players. Damn, 11.
Was it raining?
Well, Brisbane managed to score 90-something, so I don't think that matters.
If you don't kick a goal in the game, you should have your point all reset.
Go back to the wooden spoon.
Go back to
It's-
0.
It's like Snakes and Ladders or some board game. It's like go back to the start. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 million.
Remember when Brisbane's AFL team nearly didn't kick a goal?
Yes.
But they wouldn't have any points to reset.
Yeah, exactly.
Now their VFL team, like their second team, who you think would be even shitter, just beat us up by 90 points and kept them goalless. That's so bad.
Awful, really. How many points did they kick?
4 behinds. 12 goals, 24 to 4 behinds was the final score.
Well,
So that's the only reason they didn't win by 100 points. They kicked twice as many behinds as goals, Brisbane. Embarrassing. As we said, even Brisbane's ones kicked a goal, 2 goals against Richmond. Let's go to this week on the Bay. There were no questions that I noticed, so...
Oh, that's a shame because they're always really, really good.
We'll begin with Thread of the Week. What do we have?
the Welcher thread.
Oh, fucking hell.
There's been some serious lowering of people's colours in that thread. You people are idiots. But I was amused.
It's just this... You got Wonka white knighting Bayer. You've got Dibbles white knighting Bloodret. You've got everyone who doesn't like Bayer jumping on the button masher card. You've got... It's... The thing is, none of them care about the details of the bets. They just have a side they pick, and it's almost like following a team.
Yeah,
And the
sticking to
The Geelong supporters are really conflicted. Like, I hate you both.
Good nomination. I want to nominate Bender's effort from last week, the Ross Lionstein casting couch.
Oh, the casting
Give it a
couch
reach
thread.
around.
Yeah, that was good. Oh, that was going to be my mention. So yeah, that was a good one.
Mothra's had a few good ones this week, most notably, once again, congratulations, Essendon, on winning trade week. Quite liked that. Despite everything, I think Mothra saves his best work for Essendon. Anybody else got one?
Can't think of anything else.
I don't mind horse shit medals and fake silverware from Let's Go Kangaroos.
Just give it the Bender, I think.
So long, Mark Neal, you twitchy piece of shit. Gornage. Apparently he's never won until we gave it to him the other week. I was not aware of that, but I guess he's keeping count.
I don't know if the Welch thread's ever won thread of the week.
Probably not, because it doesn't often get a bump. It's normally under more embarrassing circumstances.
This is the first time I think it's ever been really that funny.
So, where are we going? Morgs is obviously Welcher. I think myself and Dan were Bender's thread, the casting couch.
Yeah, I like casting couch as well.
Casting couch is our winner. Flog of the week, who we got? Then maybe the Welcher thread can come into this one.
No,
Yeah,
because I've got a nomination for the Flog of the Week, and it goes to the Joker. You unfunny waste of oxygen.
Oh, that cunt! Yes.
You ruined what was quite a funny little joke and tried to make it about fucking Jordan De Goey when it wasn't, you stupid cunt. Have a look at the people who voted in that poll and you will see that it wasn't just Essendon supporters who made that vote. You stupid fuck. You are not funny and you drain my life. Go away.
Yeah, what sort of idiots would have voted for Laverde in that poll? Who the fuck would have but
Yeah, you're an idiot. You're all idiots because you're all fucking in there. Every one of your names is on that poll.
all of you.
All of you are idiots. But the amount of times I've had to go back in there because some Essendon cunts bumped it. Oh, no, because I've bumped it. But then been attacked by Essendon supporters. Like, when are you going to give up, mates? Look at this bunch of fucking wankers. Windy Hill, Raskolnikov, Essendon Pride, Lance Uppercut, Bonster.
Are they all still white knighting Laverde?
Well, they all still got him in the poll. Which other fuckwits have voted for him? Royals. Of course he did. Fucking goo-chugging wanker. Smeghead, Ugak,
Well, that's just
Mothra.
everyone who did it to troll.
Hadouken, Wiggo, Truffles, bunch of fuckheads. Pakenham Saint, oh, surprise. And there's like 17 Big Joe D aliases in there.
You've alienated our entire listening base there.
Northern Lights, what a dickhead. Go and take your vote.
Anybody else got a nom other than the Joker?
Going on with the Welcher theme, I think Dibbles deserves a nom because he brings general floggishness with a side dose of homophobia.
Oh, well, fuck.
Side dose. I think it's a main course, isn't it?
Of course.
I can't think of anyone from the Bay, but I would like to give a dishonourable to the other alcoholic at the Herald Sun, John Anderson, who I did notice in his Sunday piece produced the fake news of, it was a piece about Basil Zemplis, and he started it off with the words popular television presenter Basil Zemplis, which the rage I felt as I read that. I'm pretty certain that AFL fan survey on who your least favourite commentator is had him about second worst, probably I think only ahead of Luke Darcy. So that's sort of the opposite of popular, I think. I couldn't let that one go. But the Joker, I think, is our guy.
In keeping with my recent trend of picking a completely random flog of the week that's got nothing to do with football, this was actually meant to be my tiers, but I forgot about it. Singapore Airport can be flog of the week because they have a bar there at the airport called The World is Flat, and these idiots do not need a platform. Don't give them any ideas. Don't have a fucking bar at an airport called The World is Flat because you'll just empower the loonies. And someone sent me this with a note saying the price of a drink at this bar, which is already stupidly named, is $20 for a schooner. Obviously, 1-to-1 exchange rate roughly, so $20 for a schooner of very average beer at The World is Flat.
Well, if you will buy the flat earth theory, you will buy anything, I guess is the theory there. They're preying on their stupidity.
They're just trying to see how far people will go. Like, you're already coming in, you'll fucking fall for anything.
And the Joker wins this week. Next week's games, who's going to tip this week?
Dan's turn to tip.
I could have sworn I did it last week.
No, I did him last week.
Ah, it's good. All right, I'll just do it.
Adelaide versus the Dogs.
Bulldogs.
What?
You heard me right.
North versus the Giants. This is actually a very interesting game because if the Giants lose this one, they seriously will lose touch with the 8. And who would have thought?
They're really nice now.
Yeah, I know. And this will put them a game outside.
A game and a half.
The Suns versus the Power in China I noticed this one's been shunted off to fucking afternoon time, Saturday Arvo, unlike last year where we all had to endure it on free-to-air.
Shanghai Cup. Power.
Have you seen what the name of where they're playing is called?
No, what's it called now?
It's called
Adelaide
It's called
Arena
Adelaide Arena.
at Geelong Stadium. Geelong 1 or I'm not even going to bother.
Essendon Geelong?
Cats.
Colas Freo.
Do not even mention this game.
St Kilda Collingwood during the royal wedding.
Well, I think the bride will turn up. She's going to cash in on being a princess.
a black princess married to a ranger.
To a ranger. It's a weird combination. Imagine if
Imagine when
they
they
were
have a
one and
kid,
the
it'll be
same.
the most terrorized child in the world.
Good thing it's a royal.
Yeah, well, exactly. But on the game, Collingwood.
Will Freeman play?
I don't give a shit if Freeman plays. I'm not into that.
Carlton versus Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Brian's Hawks.
Bryans.
You had to think about...
I'm going for an upset.
It's
Oh,
not the
really?
it's not the
No,
first. I don't know which one I'm more amazed by, Dogs over Crows or Brian's over Hawks, but West Coast Richmond to finish off the round. Well, this one can't be an upset.
Tigers.
All right. Nothing else we want to mention on any of those games, particularly perhaps the China one?
If Gold Coast go goalless in China and nobody's there to see it, did it really happen?
Koshi hasn't been running his mouth about the jumper or anything this year. I haven't heard anything. Is that all
No.
being put to bed or still a...
Presumably it must have been, yeah. I don't know.
It's funny how no one gives a fuck about China anymore.
Not even Koshi.
To be honest, no one gave a fuck about China last year except the AFL and the media machine.
No, but it was funny to make fun of them. Now no one even cares that they're going. Like,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's my
Stay there.
favourite part that's been shunted to Saturday afternoon.
How many are expected to go?
Apparently it's a sellout and a bigger sellout than last year.
Which was sold out with lots of empty seats. It's like the bay covers must have been out in force again. It's a sellout. All they're going to do is just however many seats they don't fill will be however many bay covers they need.
The country has like 1 billion plus people in it. I mean, they should sell it out.
Yes, but they don't care because it's a dumb idea and they never will. I'd rather watch the esports, I think, Dan.
Oh, God. What kind of loser would you have to be to watch esports?
Hi, Jose.
Now, I'm assuming you're all with me on that, right?
Yes.
You would
Yes.
have to be a loser to watch esports. Okay, thank you. So, sorry, Jose. That's not me saying you're not allowed to come on, but you're a loser.
This was the Flogcast for round 9. Starburns joined by Penal,
See ya.
Morgs,
Bye.
and Dan.
Well, thank God this is over because it's taken 2 days to fucking finish.
Thanks for listening, and thanks all of you for coming on again after yesterday's internet dramas.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And we'll see you all next week.
Dan's hosting next week.